For some reason, so many guys believe that you have to be a bodybuilder or have so much more muscle than everyone else in order to attract women, when this simply just isn't the case. The reality is, you just have to be lean. And being lean alone with a minimal amount of muscle is going to get you way more girls, way more women than that big, 315-pound bencher physique will. That bulked up physique, where you're stuffing your mouth with processed foods every day and using an excuse because I'm bulking. When in reality, you just have no discipline and you're getting fat, but you say, oh, I'm getting strong, I'm gaining muscle. Well, first of all, you don't need to be in a bulk to gain muscle, right? That's something a lot of men believe and a lot of men do. I don't know why. It just makes you ugly for, maybe sometimes the majority of the year because, you're constantly in a bulking and cutting cycle, but, and you guys, you can't even cut properly because you don't have the discipline to, because your bulk is your normal lifestyle, right? So 8 months of the year you're bulking, and then maybe in the summer you get a bit leaner, right? You lock in a little bit more, right? But why does it have to be summer for you to get lean, right? All right, people say, oh, my top's going to be off a lot more, right? But with your top on in the winter, people can still see a sharp, defined face, right? Because you're lean. So, and when you're in the gym, your physique will still show because you're lean. And we don't wear coats everywhere in the winter, right? You're inside the house, or you're at work, or in college, you're gonna have a t-shirt on, right? So I don't think that's, people use that as cope, I would say, right? Oh, it's winter, I'm not gonna have my top off, or people aren't gonna see my physique, so I may as well just get fat. What? That's so bizarre to me. Like, that's something that wouldn't even cross my mind. I would never get fat, right? I would never bulk for. I would never bulk. I think I might have tried it back in the day, when I was uneducated, and thank God I didn't get fat, right? Thank God I was too active. I walked too much. I played too much football to bulk. So people have to realize, like, the method in 2026, and it should have always been the method, is to just stay lean year round, right? And the reason why people, hear that and think, well, that's going to be difficult, is because they're attacking it the wrong way, right? They're attacking getting lean the wrong way. Their lifestyle has to be the lean lifestyle, right? It has to be hitting at least 10,000 steps a day, right? It has to be eating only whole, unprocessed foods. It can't be eating processed foods because, obviously, you eat that, you're not going to be satiated, you're going to get fat. It's so much easier to binge eat, and, all of a sudden you're back to 18% body fat when you could have been at 12% or 10%, right? And let me tell you, being 18% body fat when you could have been 10% or 12% is not doing you any favors when it comes to attracting women, right? Or trying to date women, etc. Women, guys say, all right, some women like, they might even say, a lot of women like the feminine women, the feminine women like, big, big hench guys that can't even scratch their back, and bro, they don't, right? That's obviously some women will, right? Some women might like that more than the lean athletic physique. But in the majority of the cases, a woman wants that guy with his 6-pack abs, going on 8-pack abs. He's vascular. He's got a sharp jawline. He's got a sharp face because of how lean he is. That's the guy women want, right? So you can keep on, coping and being indisciplined and getting fat and eating your donuts and your chips and your Pop Tarts and Doritos because you can't control yourself, and then use it as an excuse for, I'm bulking. You're always bulking, mate. When are you gonna stop? You're constantly bulking. And women, they're not craving. They're not craving that big muscly guy, right? That's not what they're craving. They're craving, like the title says, they cannot resist that 10% body fat guy, right? That guy that's shredded to the bone, right? He's so unique. That's another thing, right? How many guys do you see that 10% body fat? Just maybe even like 11, 12%. It's not many, right? And then when you start getting lower, 10%, 9%, bro, you don't see that. You rarely see that, even in the gym. Never mind in the outside world. In the outside world, everyone's fat, right? And when you're bulking, right, you just blend in with those fat people. I mean, if people have a close look at you, they might notice that, oh, he's got a bit more muscle than the rest. But listen, if you don't catch the girl's eye straight away, she's not gonna look at you again, is she? So, and even if you catch her eye, because I don't know, you catch your eye for some reason, right? Maybe you're wearing something stupid or whatever, or you're wearing some nice clothes, let's say. You being fat and 18% body fat, I'm telling you, it's not doing you any favors. Now imagine you caught your eye with those clothes and then she looks at you. She's these big biceps popping out, right? Maybe not big, but you're wearing a tie shirt and you're veiny and you got a sharp jawline and you stretch and you're right. But the point is, right, I'm saying just imagine if you were lean, right? Imagine if you were 10% and shredded rather than 18%. That's going to attract way more women. When guys post thirst traps on Instagram or TikTok, they the ones that get the most attention are the lean guys, right? They're shredded. They've got abs. They do some weird shit like I do. Begging it kind of. But yeah, the point is, right? They're lean, right? Like, look at this TikTok. Look how skinny I am. I find it quite amusing. This video got 2.2 million views. Now, I'm probably 11% body fat or something there. I don't know. Maybe even something maybe around there, I guess. Imagine I was 15%, not just 11, 15%, bro. That is 15% with more muscle. I'm gonna get 1,000 views, right? I'm gonna get nothing. Like, again, it's just one of the many examples of how getting lean just makes you irresistible to women, right? They crave for it, they fiend for it. They like that's like it's like kryptonite to them, right? Even if they you cheat on them 20 times and they hate you. When you post that Instagram and you're shredded, like, oh bro, I wish we could have had something, but because you're a Chad, you can cheat on them, right? And you're just balancing out the universe because best believe they do it to guys. And yeah, when girls like personally it's happened to me so many times it gets kind of annoying, but anyways, even if you don't do it right, girls think because you're attractive, you're lean, you talk to so many girls, they think I talk to so many girls, right? Which, could be the case, but the point is they have no evidence that I do that. The only evidence they have is that I look good, right? So they're like, every time you talk to them, oh, but you talk to a lot of girls, just shut up, mate. Like, no, obviously don't slap them. Just a joke, but like, it's like every conversation you have with a girl, it's like they got to mention that you talk to a lot of girls, even when you may not. They're like, oh, you're a hoe, you're a slag. Like, I didn't even do anything like that. You literally just think I'm attractive. That's why you call me that. Don't say that to them to their face. But listen, when a girl says, oh, I bet you talk to loads of girls, right? Oh, show me your phone. You talk to loads of girls, bro. She's calling you sexy. She thinks, oh, it's impossible. This guy don't talk to girls because look at him. He's got 8-pack. His cock's probably bigger than my head. You know what I mean? And to be honest, the reality may be that you do talk to a lot of girls, but you can do that because you're attractive, because you're lean. Now, yes, okay, you might know someone who's 50, I was about to say 15% body fat, right, and talks to a lot of women. Well, first of all, right, I mean, he's probably like 6'5", right? If he's not, all the women he's talking to are ugly, right? So, anyway, I'm gonna start waffling now, but you get the idea, right? Oh no, what I'm just trying to say is you need to get lean if you're trying to attract an abundance of women or trying to, widen your options for women you can actually attract, because when you're ugly, right, when you're fat, when you're chubby, there's only so many women so many women you can attract. And of course there's only so many women in the world, right? So even when you're 10%, there's only so many women you can attract. But I'm saying the options, like, you feel like you'll never run out, because obviously you're not going to talk to 4 billion women on the earth, right? In your lifetime, or in your lean lifetime when you're 10% body fat. But it's like every girl you talk to, it's like, there could be something, right? I think she's attracted. She's at least interested. She's intrigued. Now, you might say something to her and that's it. It's over. But right, that's that's to do with speaking to them and how you speak to them. That's not your physique. But listen, when you're shredded, right? When you have a good physique, you don't even need to be able to speak to women well. I'll be honest. You don't need to be able to speak to them well. If you look at, I'm not going to say that, but what I'm trying to say is you don't need to be able to speak to, the physique speaks for you, right? It doesn't even matter what you say, right? First of all, it matters more how you say it, but even how you say it and all that, if it's not the best, your physique will break your fall, right, with the women, right? So, a guy who's 15% body fat, not 18, right? Just 15% body fat. You might say someone, that's not, the woman didn't like, and that's it, is disqualified, right? She's just trying to distance herself away from him now. But when you're 10%, right, they'll give you second chances. They'll give you 3, 4, 5 chances. They'll give you as many chances as you need, really, because they want you, right? And they don't want to lose someone with that physique, because how many guys did they know that are shredded like you? Not many. So you're thinking, yeah, this sounds good, right? But how do I even get to 10% body fat? Well, you think, yeah, this sounds good, but it's going to be so hard. I think it's because the way you've kind of been cutting or trying to get lean before has just been completely inaccurate and just completely wrong. You've been eating whatever, and just trying to track your calories, bro. It's a recipe for disaster. Like, if I ate, all my calories in Twinkies and Pop Tarts and donuts, bro, I'm gonna eat 4,000 calories a day easy. I'm gonna be fat in a month, right? I'm gonna be obese in a month. But it's about your food choice, your food, your meal choice. Holy stutter, your meal choice, your meal timing, and so I'm just breaking it down a little bit. So first of all, as you should know, your food you're eating, your meals should be single ingredient whole foods, right? 90% of the time, right? As much as you can. They should be satiating foods, beef, mince, right? Meat, chicken, eggs, fish, fruit, vegetables if you want. You really have a lot of vegetables, but vegetables if you want. What else have I missed off that list? I'd say those are the main things, right? I dabble in potatoes here and there, and because sometimes it can be a bit expensive to get all your fruit, all your carbs, sorry, from fruit. But having a lot of fruit is satiating as well for your carbs. So if you can do that, and if you can eat all your carbs from fruit, why not? Just have nutrient dense fruit, kiwi, mangoes, oranges, right? Yeah. So the food selection matters, right? So single ingredient whole foods is the main thing. Satiating foods, high protein foods, right? Make sure you're hitting your macros correctly as well. So you've heard it before. A gram of protein per pound of body weight. It's going to be a gram of fat per kilogram of body weight, and then the rest of your calories you just fill them up with carbs. So for me, it ends up being like 220 grams of carbs, 70 grams of protein, 70 grams of fat, sorry, and about 150 grams of protein. And that makes up about 2,200 calories, which puts me in a 500 calorie deficit because my maintenance is 2,700 calories if I'm hitting 10K steps a day. I'm going to the gym, which I am. And yeah, and playing football sometimes as well. So, so what have I mentioned? Your macros, your calories, all that. Your food selection. Okay, your meal timing, right? So I woke up at 10 o'clock today. Pretty late one, but 10 o'clock today, and I'm not going to eat until about 3 p.m. Right? So that gives me a 5-hour fast in the morning where I'm not eating. So then I have, after that fast is done, I have a light meal, then go to the gym. A light meal, I mean like 600, 500 calories of carbs and a little bit of protein. So I'll probably end up having like a little bit of potatoes, right? Like maybe 300 calories of potatoes. About 60 grams, 70 grams of carbs of potatoes, right? And then about 2 eggs, literally, just to get like 15 grams of protein in, just to get me a bit more full. That'll be about 600 calories or so. I go to the gym. Off that, it'll be like from 3 hours from when I eat that meal to come back from the gym back home. So I had that meal at 3? I'm back home at 6 maybe, right? Yeah. So if I'm eating 2,200 calories a day, I've only eaten 600 so far, let's say. So I've got how much left? 1,600 left, right? So I have from 6 p.m. till bedtime at 10 p.m. or something, 11 p.m. To eat 1,600 calories, right? So I might eat a 1,200 calorie meal, 1,300 calorie meal. That's pretty big, right? At 6:30, let's say, right? After I finish cooking from when I get back from the gym. So I'm gonna be full I can be full for the rest of the day, but I can sneak in a bit more food, and who don't want to do that? So then I have another 300 calories to eat or something like that. So then I'll just have maybe a bit more fruit, maybe some eggs, whatever I want, right? It just depends what I've eaten earlier, but maybe a bit more fruit, and there you go. The whole day, 2,200 calories. Yes, I was hungry at the start of the day, but after that, hunger for 5 hours, I wasn't hungry really at any point in the day. In the gym, even if I'm on like 500 calories, 600 calories, I don't really get that hungry. I don't know why, but yeah, maybe it's because I'm in the gym, I'm active, and also in the morning I don't I don't want to sit in the kitchen or sit in the house really, because I'm gonna end up going to the kitchen and eating something, especially if I get very hungry. I'm speaking a bit fast, but especially if I get very hungry. So I go out, maybe play some football in the morning or go for a walk, but it's gonna have to be quite a long walk, right? So preferably something more fun, which for me, just going out to play football. I understand some of you guys might have work and whatnot, so you'll be at work, but let's say you get to work at 9 to 5, right? Or let's say 9 to 9 to 5, right? You get to work at 9, right? So you woke up at 7:30, let's say. So you're gonna fast until when 7 to 5, about 12:30, right? So yeah, times up with your lunch. You get to work at 9, right? You eat your first meal at 1, let's say, when it's lunchtime. A light meal, 700, 600 calories, right? Let's say you're the same as me, you got 2,200 calorie for a 500 calorie deficit. You got how much left? 1,500 left. You have another 200, 300, just like 40, 50 grams of carbs before the gym. after work, right? So you have that at 4 p.m. Let's say you go to the gym at 5 when you're done. Or let's say you have it 4:30, you go to the gym at 5 when you're done. Holy waffle, this is a lot of talking, but so now what, you had 600 calories earlier, 300 calories then, let's say you're on 1,000, right? 1,000 calories after you come back from the gym. Now you've got another 1,200 when you come back from the gym. It's now 7 p.m. when you come back from the gym, or 7:30. Now you go home, cook your last meal, eat it at 8 or something, or 7:30, and that's a 1,200 calorie meal. It's big and you're full. So even with work, you can still make it, and that sounds easy to do for me. So, maybe for me, because I've done it a while and it's a bit more easier, but for you, it might be a bit harder, but it's definitely still doable, right? That's still doable. So, yeah, that's the meal timing, the meal select, the food selection, and whatever the other one I said was. So, that's what makes you irresistible to win, right? Having that discipline, like have that little bit of discipline in the morning, than eating a good food selection the rest of the day. That is going to make you lean, and that is what's going to make you irresistible to women. So be smart with your food choice. Be smart with your food timing, your food selection, hitting your correct macros, right? So you're still building muscle while getting lean. Your calories, obviously, so you're getting lean in the first place. And in no time, you're gonna have women all over you, bro. There's gonna be one here, one around you, one in front of you, right? You're gonna have 5 around you. So get to it.